Okay, so we talked about the focus and how to use it on React for the concepts of accessibility. So now let's talk a little bit more about the semantics of the HTML that you write. So another thing that is critical, and I have been saying this for a while, it's like you have to organize your website as a hierarchy. So I already told you every website should have at least one H1, and that which is going to contain the header or the main description of the page. Again, in the era of AI, if your website is being indexed for either for SEO or for being included as part of an LLM memory or something, then it is going to be looking at that H1 to know what the page is supposed to be about. Then once you have done something like that, then the whole idea is that you want to have a bunch of H2s that are dividing the different sections on your application or your page. And then if you have even more subsections, then you can go with H3s and things like that. So if you take a look at my website, that it's not the best one, but at the very least, you're going to be able, actually, let me see what we have in here. Yes, so I do have in here, here is my H1, so at least it's saying that it's for my page. And then if you keep on going, for instance, this one in here will be one of my H2s. And then if you see, I have a bunch of other sections, and then each one of those sections, it is going to have its own H2. So that way the page, like if you have even a screen reader or an AI system looking at the page, it will be able to say, what are the different elements in there. So that hierarchy is going to be very useful. I already told you the DOM order matters a lot, so make sure that things are organized properly. In my page, for instance, I have this silly element in here that is showing you the different skills that I have and elements like that. So like I do have it in the order in the HTML, first this part and this part and then this part, okay? Which is the way that I want it to be read in a screen reader or for anything else. Now, the next thing that is critical is that you want to have good alt text, okay? So alt text, it's the text that it is going to be used for multiple things. So for instance, I think I can inspect this thing in here. So this is an example of something that I was using directly in my previous class. But you can see that that image contains my like different general skills of what I have. And then what I did is actually using Cloud generate some description of that image. And that's how I included this in here. And the beautiful thing about that, and let me see if I can make this one work. I'm scared now, but let's give it a try. So Apple has, like in any Mac OS, includes like an amazing screen reader, which is one of the tools we might talk a little bit more later. So if you have a MacBook or a Mac computer, then you can turn this on. And like people from the visual disability community, they love this one because it's very well engineered. So once I turn it on,
VoiceOver
I'm not
speaks
sure if you guys
descriptions
can
of items on
hear
the
it.
screen and can be used to control the computer using only your keyboard.
Probably not. But then if you come
already
in
know
there,
how to use
basically,
VoiceOver,
let's
press
say that
the
I'm
V.
going to use it. I strongly recommend you to
Chrome,
try
heading
to do
level
it.
1, 3
And
HTTP,
then
open Gemini and Chrome,
I
button.
can
John Alexis,
here.
open Gemini and Chrome, button. You are currently on a button, inside of John, heading level 1, John, heading level 4,
There we go.
HTTP, open link, HTTP, open Gemini and Chrome, button. https:// John Garrett selection heading level 1 3 items heading level 2 in a nutshell heading level https: select information. I help people extract insights from their data using Open Gemini and https:// to exit full screen press and hold ESC. Chrome has new window diagram showing skills centered on visual analytics with interconnected areas, information visualization, data science, machine learning, system architecture, user evaluation, and user interface design. Image Chrome has new window.
It is just talking on
You are
my
currently on a
earphones,
toolbar item palette
telling me
inside of a
exactly
group.
what
To
that
interact with the
image
items
is
on this
about.
toolbar, press Control Option
then
Shift down arrow. To exit this group, press Control Option Shift up arrow. Diagram showing skills centered on visual analysis. John Alexis Guerra Gomez's homepage. Web content has keyboard focus. Heading level 1, 3 items. Heading level 2, space
And
desktop
then
group.
Let me turn this
Voiceover off.
because it's going to drive me crazy. But I strongly recommend you to try to complete the voiceover tutorial. If you're using a Windows machine, then there are other tools that you can use like NVDA. Or like the most famous one is called JAWS, but it's commercial, so I'm not sure if you can use it. So if something you can use NVDA. So try using that and then see how it, like if it is actually telling you what it's supposed to have. So all your images should have like a good alternative text. Imagine like if you cannot see the image, what the text should be. And again, this works very well also for AI systems. And then if for some reason you have an image that shouldn't be read, it still needs to have an alt text, but then just provide the alt text completely empty, as you see in there. Okay? Then the other one is that all your form controls need to have a correct label. So the way I like doing it in React, because I don't like using IDs, it's to include whatever control I'm using, in this case, this input, inside my label. So if you look, for instance, MDN label, then usually the way that you do it in regular HTML is that you say, I create this label, and this label is for the cheese input. And then this is the cheese input with ID cheese. And then if I click in the label, it selects the checkbox. So it plays, like again, universal accessibility. Not only describes the checkbox, but also it allows me to click on it just by clicking in the label, and the screen reader will know what to read. If you don't include that, then the screen reader will just say checkbox, and then they will not know what it is for. And again, if you're providing like in the near future, like, I don't know, an AI agent completing like your application, then using this, it knows what it's supposed to put in there. The other thing is that, as I say, like regularly, this is how you can connect an input to a label, but I just prefer just putting it inside, because in React, I like the fact that I can recreate a component and then just use it for something else, in like multiple times in the page, and therefore the ID will not be unique, which will give us trouble. Okay? So apart from this, I strongly recommend you to go and read this Google guide for area labels or area tags. And this is the official description of what the area tags are. They were created in 2023, and they have been a huge success in the web development world, because they allow us to make our applications more semantically correct and again, universally accessible. So using that, you can have extra information that helps screen readers and other elements create a better accessibility tree. So take a look at that. There is a ton of different combinations that you can use for that. And again, if you are using Bootstrap, like I love that their documentations and like usually provide examples using area labels, like for instance, this area hiding in here, which seems very useful as well. Okay, then finally, the final thing I have to tell you on this, it's just use standard HTML elements. So there is multiple ways in which I show you an example. I think it was for the tab index, this one in here. So when you do something like this, then this element becomes like selectable. And if you go and say on click on that element, you can even simulate the behavior of clicking on an element. And that will work visually, and if you have a mouse, but it will not work if, for instance, you don't have a mouse. Or in your phone, it might fail. So instead of doing that, you should just use a button. So instead of making something that looks like a button, just use the button. Because by doing that, like all the standards that the browser has and all of those elements will help you making sure that everything is applied correctly. Okay. Now, the final element that we have in here is about the tools. So let me complete it just in here. As I told you, these are different screen readers that I recommend you to use. So your website should be readable using, or like accessible completely using any of these screen readers. But then apart from that, and this is critical for the project, you need to have 0 critical errors with the DKeys, Axe or DKeys, I don't know how you pronounce it in English, Chrome extension. So you can find that just like if you come in here and see, right click inspect, and you can see we have 2 extensions. One, it's Lighthouse, and then it seems like Chrome is going to make me close this, and then let me open it again, and then go, for instance, to my website, so you all can laugh at my website. And if I analyze the page, you can see it's not analyzing for navigation, and it's going to be mobile first, and it's going to be checking for performance, accessibility, best practices, and SEO. And I still have some errors in here that I have to fix because I included like some extra visualizations that are giving me a lot of trouble. But then usually what this is going to do is to try to create like an automated report that tells you what are the points of improvement in your page. For instance, in accessibility, you can see that I have these area labels that I'm using incorrectly. And again, if we see here, it is coming out of this visualization that I added recently to show all the observable notebooks that I have created. So I have to go into that observable one to fix that one. So we don't want to have like in the report, we don't want to have like any of these critical errors in here. It should be 0. And the most important one that we want to use is this is a specialized auditor, I want to say, or automatic check page. It's from this company called Dickies, and they specialize in accessibility. So if you do a full scan of their page, they're going to give you, hopefully, there we go. They're going to give you a whole list of all of these different issues. So as you can see, I have a ton of them. But then the most important ones, I have 2 critical, which are the 2 area labels that I have to fix. And then you're also probably going to be having elements like this, like the color contrast. Try to pay attention to that, like look at the specific element. I think, oh, I wonder, let me see. Element location, so I can see it in here. That's interesting. And then you even have like an example on how it could be fixed. So take a look at that. Like if I highlight, there we go. Oh, that's what I was looking for. Oh, so it is just saying that it doesn't have enough contrast. So like changing colors a little bit could be helpful for you for that. So give it a try to fix it. But if you cannot fix like these color contrast problems, then do let me know on Slack and I might give you a pass for that one. But definitely make sure that you don't have any critical errors. And we'll have to fix those ones on my visualization. So you can fix those in there. And then I think that's all I have in here. Let me just check really quickly. These are going to be the same slides for this one. And yes, so those are the validators. Remember, there is also some other tools you can see in here. And then I strongly recommend you to complete these readings so you can get more information with that. So with that, make sure that your website is completely accessible. And by doing this, you're creating like a better application for everyone.